Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Can you believe it? We are finally bringing the two-stroke back onto the channel. I know you guys are going to be very excited about this because you guys have been asking me all the time, where is the two-stroke? Do I still have it? So yes, I still have it. It kind of just got put on the back burner, honestly. I did not intend to buy this thing and then just shove it in the corner for like 2 years. But you guys know, right after I got the two-stroke, I kind of started to progress in the professional racing, and I just wanted to devote all my time to that and getting the race 450s all sorted and just focusing on the racing side of things. But obviously now that I have this shoulder injury, it's kind of giving me like the perfect opportunity to get back to doing some bike builds and things like that. So all that to say, the two-stroke is back, baby. And today we're gonna get working on that thing. So y'all should be very happy to hear that. Regarding my shoulder, I'm 3.5 weeks post-op right now, and recovery is actually going really well. I got the stitches out at the 2-week mark, so things are looking pretty good. I have a couple more on the back there. Yeah, you guys can see I'm getting like some good range of motion back out of this thing. Finally got out of the sling like 3 or 4 days ago. So I mean, the progress that I've had over the last couple days is absolutely huge. Gonna be starting PT here in another couple of days, so the progress should be really good and we should be back on the bike in no time. But for the time being, we have a nice like 9 to 10 week span where I'm not gonna be doing any riding. So we actually have 3 pretty fun builds coming up just to keep me occupied while I am recovering. So very excited to get on that. So I'll show you all 3 of those builds in this video, just give you a little teaser, but obviously in this one we're focusing on my 2019 KTM 252 stroke. Quick little rundown. We got the race bike looking absolutely beautiful. We're gonna hang on to this thing and it's gonna become like my new practice bike for whenever I finally can ride. We got the practice bike over here. This thing, now that I have use of my left arm again, I'm gonna be converting that thing all back to stock, and that thing will be up for sale pretty soon. We will replace it with a new race bike, and then this will become the practice bike. So that'll be coming up pretty soon. One of the 3 builds that you guys haven't really seen yet, I picked up this little pitter bike. We'll get a closer look. This thing absolutely torched. It is dirty, it is grimy, it is rusty, but it was only $1,000. You can't really complain about that, but that'll be one of the builds coming up very soon. We have a fun little twist on that one as well, so you're gonna wanna pay attention for that one. And then of course, moving on from that, the poor 252 stroke. Oh my goodness, this thing. I literally bought it almost 2 years ago, shredded it once or twice, and then started tearing it apart. And here it's been sitting over in the corner, just completely neglected ever since. We got the rag in the air box, no wheels. I've actually been stealing the wheels off of it to use on the race and practice bike as a backup set. So the wheels are up there somewhere, I don't really know, but we got some fresh EW wheels for it anyways. Pretty much just bone stock. So you guys may remember the reason I started taking it apart is because it was making some crazy crackly noise. If I still have the clip, I'll play it for you guys. And it was very sketchy. So I actually bought like a top end kit, bought a bunch of stuff, and it's just been sitting over here in this cabinet. Actually, I guess I could show you that. So my intentions were to just do a quick top end rebuild and put a couple parts on it and keep shredding it, but this is like the whole parts cabinet I'm showing you guys here. So better plastics, stuff for the 450s, and then this here is the 250 shelf. Recluse clutch cover, a bunch of the OEM stuff that came off the bike, some Luxon triple clamps we're gonna be throwing on it, top end kit. But we also have another top end kit in case I decided I wanted to do a 300 build on it. Beautiful orange anodized fathead, gasket kits, all sorts of goodies in here, honestly. Some plastic for it down in here. We have some Renthal goodies for it as well, and it's all just been sitting there in the cabinet. So pretty much the only thing I still need to get is a pipe, and then this thing will be rocking and rolling. So yeah, I figure it's finally time to do this thing. First things first though, I gotta figure out how to actually swap places with one of the other bikes. Obviously, I'm not gonna work on it while it's pushed up against the wall. It also doesn't have wheels on it. I kind of took those off preemptively, and it has no suspension, so I can't just put wheels back on and push it around. So not supposed to be lifting anything yet with this arm, so we're gonna figure out how to swap it with one of these bikes with one arm. So that should be pretty interesting. Hey, you guys should also totally pick up some of my new merch and maybe my new signature gear kit. Pretty fancy, huh? It would look good on you and your dirt bike. If you do pick it up, make sure to post a picture on Instagram and tag me because I will repost it. All right, let's move these bikes. That actually wasn't very difficult at all. I was expecting that to be way worse, but we're not. So this is the side where we're gonna get to have quite a bit of fun because there's no plastic. It's just a bunch of raw, pretty nasty, like corroded metal. We're gonna be able to coat all this stuff and make it look really sweet. The frame itself is not too bad. I mean, it's not great, but I don't know if it warrants a full recoat at this point. I do just wanna leave it black, so I'm not sure if I'm gonna get that recoated, but everything else definitely needs it. Swing arm, for sure needs some love. That thing's looking crusty, as well as all the bearings and the linkage and whatnot. So that's gonna get all refreshed. Definitely also do the things like the brake calipers, master cylinder, all that good stuff. So yeah, aesthetically, we're gonna be doing a lot to this thing. As far as structurally goes, it really doesn't need a whole lot. Obviously, there's that weird little noise that I told you guys about that I am going to look into. We should be able to get that sorted out, but apart from that, it's basically gonna be freshening it up really well and making it look really epic. The thing about the KTMs, it's why I race the KTM 450s. They are so good in stock form. You don't really need to do a whole lot to them, but there is a lot that you can do to, you know, make it yours. And then of course there's a lot you can do with the suspension as well, which I actually dropped the suspension off at Turbo Speed Tuning forever ago. So those guys had a lot of time to make it epic. They did a lot of coating, powder coating the spring and stuff, and it turned out really sick. So I get to go pick that up eventually. SKDA already made me a graphic set that's sitting in the cabinet just waiting to get put on. So on one hand, kind of a bummer that this build did take so long, but on the other hand, it's kind of cool that I was able to just amass so many parts and take a long time to plan this thing out so that the build is actually going to happen very quickly, and it'll definitely be ready to go by the time I'm ready to ride it. But speaking of plans, I definitely want to turn this thing into an off-road beast. I had so much fun at the Ironman GNCC race last year that one of the reasons I was so bummed about getting injured was I wasn't going to be able to do that race this year. So I think that says a lot about how much I enjoy doing the off-road race and just the off-road scene in general. But I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty brutal doing it on my Pro National race setup. The suspension was way too stiff. I didn't have an oversized tank or anything like that. So I think with this thing, being that it's a two-stroke and everything, I think it would fit the off-road vibe really well. Definitely gonna get an oversized tank for it. I had the Turbo Speed guys valve it a little bit on the soft side just so that it's a little bit more forgiving on the roots and the rocks and everything like that. It's a little bit more comfortable for an all-day ride. Don't worry though, I will absolutely take this thing to the track and shred the nuts off of it. Like if anything, I think it would be funny to show up at the local track with like an oversized tank on a two-stroke and be freaking throwing down. So that'll be a fun video for sure. But so first things first, I guess this video is just gonna be tearing this thing all the way down to the frame and kind of picking out what parts I want to Cerakote what color and getting those sent out to whoever's gonna coat it. So I guess I'll set you guys up on the tripod and we'll get to it, or at least do as much as I can with one arm. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get that engine out. Maybe we'll recruit Bridget's muscles and see how strong she's feeling today. But yeah, let's get to it.
I'd like to think I'm on your mind. I'd like to think he's on your mind. I'd like to think we'll be alright. I see your faded eyes, the future, it's heavy on my mind, We've been talking about the situation, talking slowly. We didn't figure it out, we've been learning, rolling with all the motions, moving quickly. We give routine a heart attack. We like to think we're beautiful. Oh, you and me, we know we're irreplaceable. I see your faded eyes, the future, it's heavy on my mind, We've been talking about the situation, talking slowly. We didn't figure it out, we've been learning, rolling with the motions, moving quickly. We give routine a heart attack.
Alright guys, well I just took a minute with a rag and some WD-40 and I honestly can't believe how clean and damage-free the paint is on the frame. As I said, I'm stoked on that because I'm excited to coat all the little things like engine hangers, water pump covers, stuff like that, but I was really not looking forward to having to source somebody to coat the frame. That can be an expensive process. Might have been able to have a buddy do it as a favor, but honestly, I'm glad that it just is so nice as it is. So very happy, and not discovering any cracks or anything, because that was somewhat common on the old KTM frame, was to get a crack like right down beneath the engine, right down in there. So not finding any of that. As you guys may have seen on the hour meter, it has like 56 hours on it or so. So it must have been babied, because when my bikes have 56 hours on them, the frame does not look nearly this good. So very happy about that. While the frame looks good, the engine is definitely crusty. I'm kind of excited about that though, because if the engine looked good, you know, we weren't going to see maximum transformation. So the fact that it looks very crusty and corroded and stuff, I'm actually pretty excited about, because then once it's all beautifully coated, we're going to have a really good before and after. Plus, Spec Bolt sent me all of their nickel plated bolts. The Austrian bikes come with these dull, like matte finish bolts. So the Spec Bolt nickel plated ones will be shiny. So that'll really finish things off nicely. I'm really excited about that. Dude, this thing is gonna look nasty. I'm not gonna split the engine cases. As I said, I have a Recluse cover for this. I'll probably take this whole cover off and Cerakote that. Water pump cover will get Cerakoted. This will get Cerakoted. Not sure about the Kickstarter yet, but the engine mounts will get Cerakoted. I have the orange anodized fathead for it. I think for the cylinder and the engine cases themselves, I'm just going to toss those in my Vapor Blast cabinet so that those will shine up really nicely. I never split cases if I don't have to, so for me, it's not worth it to split the cases and Cerakote all this stuff. I'll just cover up all the holes and then Vapor Blast that, and that'll look really nice as well. I think that is where the progress is gonna end today. I don't really think I can get the engine out with one arm, so I'm gonna have to recruit some help on that, and I don't wanna take the swing arm off because that's kind of acting as like some counterweight, otherwise the whole thing would topple forward. So that's where we're at for the time being, but the biggest thing is that I got started on it. That oftentimes is the hardest thing. Now that it's started, it should keep on rolling pretty heavily. So plan of attack here. I think in the next video, I will get the engine off and the swing arm off. Fully disassemble everything that I want to get Cerakoted or powder coated. Kind of sort those into different boxes, like everything that I want to Cerakote bronze, I'll put in a box. Everything I want to Cerakote black, I'll put in a different box. Honestly, I would love to learn how to Cerakote. So maybe I will take that on and actually just learn. The only problem is I don't really have like an oven that we don't also use to cook in, so that would be an issue. I know there's some Cerakote that you don't actually need to bake in the oven, so maybe I'll look into it, but if not, I have a couple buddies who can help me out in the Cerakote department. So either way, we will get that dialed. Once all the stuff is Cerakoted, it's just a matter of doing the top end, fixing whatever it is that's broken. It honestly could have just been that I was running pump gas instead of race gas. So I really don't think it's too big of an issue, but I have the top end kit, so we're gonna do that. We'll get some new gaskets, clean up all of the rubber and the hardware and all that stuff, and then assemble it, graphics, plastic, and we'll be shredding this thing in literally no time. It's probably gonna be ready way before I can even ride. So but that's fine. That just means we'll start in on the CRF 150. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for tuning in once again. I hope you're excited about the KTM 252 stroke build. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm excited about this thing, but my heart really lies with the CR 250s. Every time I think about like an old 250, I really picture the CR, and you guys know that my old Nicky Hayden CR 250 build got stolen and I never got to ride it. So don't be surprised if very soon here I pick myself up another CR 250 and we dive into that as well. I think it'd be kind of cool to ride like a 2002 all rebuilt and compare it to a 2019 fully rebuilt and kind of see like how far 252 stroke technology has come in 20 years. But anyways guys, that is a wrap. Hope you enjoyed. We'll catch you in the next one.